I'm going to actually go... You're supposed to, go up the tower and have this big cutscene. But I'm going to go around the cutscene trigger by going to the right and past an invisible wall. Then climb up the mountain.
I did not know about that.
Yeah, I have not seen this.
Yeah, I spent quite a while trying to make this harder to do. So, congratulations.
Hi, welcome to the Pathless. This is Speedruns React. We're going to be watching about a half-hour collection of speedrunning tricks from a recent speedrun of the Pathless. I am Elliot Mahler, a gameplay programmer at Giant Squid. With me is Matt Nava, the creative director of the Pathless.
Hello.
And Patrick Quah, producer on the Pathless.
Hello there.
And Sable, the current world record holder for the speedrun category, and the person who did the run that we're going to be watching.
Hi, everybody.
So, Sable, could you give us an overview of the speedrunning category that we're going to be watching?
You bet. So this is going to be all bosses. This is essentially, there's a way in standard any percent to climb a mountain and get right to the end of the game. But in this category, we're actually going to fight all of the game's intended bosses and essentially play the game as intended, but just in as fast a way as possible.
Super cool. Really fascinating. So we've actually kind of skipped ahead to a section here in the beginning area of the game.
Yeah, this would be, probably 10-ish minutes into the run.
Well, wait. All right. I'm already reacting here. How was she in the air up there?
I'm pretty sure it's because there's a cutscene that plays at that moment, right? So it takes control before I hit the ground. But that is that's intentional. We do that intentionally.
Is that faster or is that just style points?
That's definitely faster. There's a little zoom that happens to show you that weight that the eagle can pick up, and it doesn't happen quite as slowly if you're in the air.
Oh, that's fun.
Happens.
So you're manipulating those camera moments, as we call them.
So is there any quick trick for this puzzle, or is it just you got to do it the old-fashioned way?
Yeah, it's right there, basically, just being strategic about how you have the eagle drop that. Most people, I think their inclination is kind of just to take it down the stairs, but there's really no reason to when you can just drop it almost right where you need it.
Yep.
I think I kind of perfected that when we were developing it.
Yeah, you end up testing the first 10 minutes of the game about 100 times.
Yep. Yeah, if you time it right, you can just get the eagle to fling it directly onto the button instead of lining it up.
I'll keep that in mind.
Nice.
This is essentially, just solving it as intended as well. There is going to be one little thing I don't think is supposed to happen once we push this button.
Oh, nice. Cool. You got the eagle to go for it even though you didn't have the line of sight.
Mm-hmm.
You're just skipping my map room.
I appreciated it on the first playthrough.
Yeah. That's all we did. Okay, so now we're at the first boss here.
And we've got just a little bit of kind of manipulation here is what's going on.
Oh, wow.
But go ahead.
So you're just staying right in his face to keep that time of that kind of fireball really short, I guess.
Well, he can shoot fireballs from his horns if you're further away. It's just that the swipe is the fastest thing that he can do.
Oh, so it skips the attack where he shoots the big wave at you?
Right,
yeah,
it skips, as much as possible.
Sequence breaking. Cool. Nice.
Yeah, that's very fast. And the first half of this fight, just standard, pretty much.
Yeah, it's a little bit of, strategery in occasionally
Yeah.
maybe being able to hit an eyeball a little early, but
Hmm.
it's essentially the same. This is just an example of a smooth puzzle, a puzzle that went
Mhm.
very well. There's nothing particularly like broken about it, for lack of a better
Mhm.
way of saying.
Yeah, you just took that shot without even having to kind of look where you're aiming. Pretty cool.
I suppose I said there was nothing broken, but I do intentionally make sure that I'm hovering at this point so that I can be going up during the cutscene when I can't control my character.
Oh, wow.
Oh, that's great. Yeah.
Brilliant.
That is very cool.
Now, if you have any insight that you would maybe like to share with us about why the cloud goes to the places that it goes, we would love to hear that.
The RNG. Yeah, well, actually, Elliot programmed that, so I blame him.
Yeah. The short answer is it's random.
That's about what we figured. Is that what we hoped? No, but we do notice that it tends. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
It tends to kind of be in roughly the same spots at the same times, but it's never guaranteed, to be in exactly the same spot.
Yeah, so the locations it goes to are random, but the times are not. It tries to move it's like every 2 minutes or something. There's just a number in the code, and when a timer hits that thing, it moves.
So quitting to main menu and continuing is the quickest way to deal with those stalk events, right?
Right.
Where the
Because
cloud hits you.
Yeah, even if you, go inside and start that event and then just get hit immediately, it still takes longer than quitting out. Plus, then your eagle is like on fire
Yeah,
as well.
you have to clean them up.
So
So we knew that was going to be a exploit, and we just left it in. Because
well, we
that's
always
like,
appreciate that.
just give it to me.
The cost of fixing it, as far as like bad situations it would create for players, is like it's just not worth fixing.
Yeah, that was a really nicely executed little torch puzzle there.
Yeah, that was impressive. I think.
To be quite honest, I don't remember how to solve it the intended way anymore.
So in a run like this, do you have just like the bare minimum number of puzzles that you want to hit to get the right amount of flaps to progress, or is there like, do you just kind of like, is it based on where the cloud is? Like, do you improvise a lot, or?
It's not so much that we improvise based on the cloud. It's literally just we choose the puzzles that are the shortest and also in our way.
Got it.
So we won't go out of our way to do particularly short puzzles just because they're short. And we'll just take the reset on the cloud. We don't usually route around that as much.
So do you have kind of like a set of routes that you are kind of finding yourself going on or switching between or coalescing to? Or...
It is nice. Yeah, it is definitely nice because there's a little bit of variability. I keep one puzzle that I particularly like in Kumo's section that I know that the second place runner does completely differently. He does actually a number of different puzzles, and we still come out at about the same time. So there is a little bit of flexibility.
Yeah, I'm curious how you routed all of these. Like there's either 9 or 12 per plateau. That seems very hard to route. I'm curious how the speedrunning community accomplished that.
Yeah, that's actually a great opportunity for me to bring up Ben Rice and Azama, who are the two people primarily responsible for routing this. Ben was the one who started the route, like when the game first came out, and then Azama kind of came in and was helping with that. And there was definitely a lot of finagling, there was a lot of going places that definitely didn't need to be gone to at first before we kind of got a sense of what puzzles were reasonable to solve, and then you try to tie those together. Because some of them look easy, but then in practice actually take a lot longer than they seem.
Right. So in the clip before, you were skipping to the tree on from an obelisk just to make a nice line. And then here we're at the second boss. And I guess, So
what we were saying is, did you completely skip all the safe zones on the ground floor?
All of the what now? Sorry?
All of the safe zones, like the dark areas where you can stand and not get hurt?
Oh, no. I still did that as intended. I want to believe that it's possible to only do 3 of them instead of all 4. But I have not yet been able to actually make it through one of them.
Gotcha.
But I did do that second boss room in 1 cycle, and I think it's more commonly done in 2.
Yeah, that was impressive. That's a pretty good trick.
Yeah, even playing it as much as we did coming up to launch, like that room was never a sure thing that you were going to get it in one shot.
Along similar lines, something I never ever did while testing or developing the game, but I've seen happen every time, is leaving while the keystone flies to you. You've succeeded with the puzzle, and then it comes over and does an animation as it like flies into you, and you just sprint away while that's going on.
There's actually a little bit of manipulation. You'll see it, I believe, here very shortly, that you can do with those things still counting towards your total while you just leave them behind. Those puzzle rewards, sigils, whatever you'd like to call them.
Light stones.
That's the canon terminology.
Yes.
Light stones.
Yeah, you're already halfway to the next point when you collect it there.
That's crazy.
And of course, not climbing the tower either, using the rope.
Is there an optimal timing for, like, you were trying to maintain a set amount of height? Like, is there a difference if you flap all at once versus spacing them out like you did?
Yes, there is a little bit of lost momentum if you flap like repeatedly, very close together. Like right there when the bird flaps, you slow down for a bit before he gains speed again. And so usually you just want to keep forward as much as possible instead of burning all your momentum going up all at once.
Oh no.
You just skip the whole Dark Wind puzzle there. Nice. Brilliant.
Wow.
This was something that we worked on to try and figure out how to handle coming in from above, and eventually we were just like, yeah, it's okay.
And obviously,
I gotta
it
be
could have
honest,
been
that never
better.
occurred to me.
Like I could have landed right where the button was, but I missed it by just a smidge.
So what was that return to main menu for there?
Because the bird was going to be on fire. And if we return to the main menu, he's not. Which is sad.
Even with the
the
Dark Wind. Oh, yeah.
That is great.
I think that was a last minute, like, fix a bug kind of decision to not save out the fact that the bird is on fire. Like there was a point where that was saved, and it was like kind of like save and quit in this situation where like most players are never going to run into it, and there's a trade-off of like it makes some other situation worse if you save it, and so we just decided not to.
Look at you outrunning the storm, just doom surfing.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
And it ends up being, as far as petting the bird, that there's only one time that we pet him, and that's the required time right when you get him.
Yeah.
So you still do it once, at least.
Yes, we still do it once.
So is doing this deposit here just going to cancel the storm that was about to get you?
Yeah.
Nice.
I was really trying to tough it out. I didn't want to look behind me because I didn't want to acknowledge that it was there. So to explain what's about to happen, I suppose you might already know that this exists, but up on the cliff to the right, there's an invisible wall. I'm gonna actually go. You're supposed to, go up the tower and have this big cutscene, but I'm gonna go around the cutscene trigger by going to the right and past an invisible wall, then climb up the mountain.
I did not know about that.
Yeah, I have not seen this.
Yeah, I spent quite a while trying to make this harder to do. So, congratulations.
It's still challenging because, I can't use the bird to flap early on or I'll get pushed back outside the wall.
Yeah, okay. I've never seen this path here. This approach. Interesting.
I wondered if it was maybe a little bit intended because there's these talismans up here to hit.
Those guys, they are automatically placed.
That's kind of what I assumed eventually was why they were there.
Yeah, we would have to erase them from places that we didn't want them, so they kind of are default on.
Yeah, the system just looks for pretty much anywhere that's walkable and just plops a whole bunch of them down, and then we have a tool we can use to block them out of certain zones if we want to prevent them from spawning.
Wow, look at that.
So at this point, we're past the invisible wall. I'm not going to get pushed back out if I use the bird. And so then we can just continue scaling the mountain instead of doing the cutscene. Which, again, is kind of sad because the cutscene is really cool, but it also takes, multiple minutes.
Yeah, I gotta go fast.
And plus, at this point, we have the fast recharge of the flaps from defeating the boss. So that makes it, a little bit more convenient.
Awesome.
So it is true. I have had a little bit of a hard time when explaining this so far, not calling the bird Pickles, because in my personal speedruns, his name is Pickles.
His name is Pickles. That's awesome. Yeah, everybody had a name for the bird. And all the bosses. I think our animator had names for each Hydra's head.
I like Pickles, though.
Speaking of the Hydra, we didn't, Oh, yeah, sure. We didn't really get to see much of the Hydra, but we did actually, I don't want to say discover because we don't know how it works yet, but we figured out that sometimes one phase of the boss could be skipped.
Really?
We don't know how. So that's kind of the next revolution waiting to happen. The second placeholder does have it happen, but I do not.
So as in their second place run, it happens accidentally or something?
Yes, it happens accidentally.
Wow.
They did something that caused it to happen that we are not sure what. At this point, we're not sure.
I see. It's so cool that you guys are just figuring it out together.
Yeah, that's definitely one of my favorite aspects of speedrunning is a community finding tricks and finding new routes together.
Like I said, it was definitely, Ben Rice first and then Azama who did so much of the actual discovery, everything in this run. We all have our own kind of personal touches and contributions, but they put a massive amount of work into this
I remember,
to start.
We were talking to Azama because he was one of the first people to kind of 100% the game, I think.
All the achievements, yeah.
Something
was actually fixed in our first patch because of his initial 100% run, I think.
Yeah. So I'm curious why you chose this puzzle to include, because it's kind of a bigger puzzle.
Was not included for quite a long time. Instead, we did one where you have frozen targets along a bridge, and you have to shoot multiple torches to unfreeze multiple targets, and then shoot through all the rings. But it ended up being that if you can do the puzzle that way, and not do it as intended, if you can just kind of abuse the ledges.
Yeah, just do those fancy hops.
Yeah, those are pretty quick. Plus, the transition from the previous puzzle to that one is much faster. You don't have to do as much travel time around the area to get to the
Okay.
next puzzle.
Just better routing.
So that, yeah, it saved time in that way.
Yeah, this plateau is just massive. There's like a much larger space between each landmark than the other plateaus.
So I noticed that sometimes you do the half charge shots, and sometimes you charge up fully. Is there what's the decision process for whether to charge up all the way or not?
Right. So in general, skill shots are roughly the same speed as not, because you have the little slow-mo that compensates for the time it would take to charge a full shot. But when you're gliding, you drop further if you spend the time to fully charge a shot. So if you are confident and can make, the skill shots, then you don't drop quite as far.
Wow.
Gotcha.
That's cool.
This puzzle is... Sorry, I want to hit this before it ends. Is intended, right, to bounce an arrow from the torch to a mirror to a mirror to a ring. We can set this right-hand mirror in such a way that it doesn't get in the way of the second half of the puzzle. It just kind of happens so quickly that it's hard to notice if you don't know that it's happening first. So I'll shoot and unfreeze the ring, and then shoot through the ring, but it won't hit the mirror, even though it hit the mirror the first time. If that makes sense.
Oh, nice. See that? So yeah, you.
That's really cool.
Yeah. So Elliot wrote the code that does the kind of like auto aim when an arrow ricochets off of a mirror or goes through one of the shoot hoops, as we call them.
Yeah, that was one of the first things I did on the project.
Yeah, it was like a really long time ago. But it compensates for like slightly off angles.
Right, which is what makes that work, you know?
You can manipulate it. That's cool.
Yeah,
but I interrupted somebody earlier. Sorry, go ahead. Say what you were going to say.
Oh, I was just thinking about the skill shots and how, even though they actually do make you go faster, we added that slow-mo to make it feel awesome, and it like rounds out about the same amount of time. But they do shoot straighter, so you can actually start the next shot slightly faster on the ground. But I didn't even think about how it really has more of an effect in the air, because, like you said, you don't fall as far.
Mm-hmm.
That was definitely 3 times faster than I would have done that segment.
Mm-hmm.
It's like perfect timing of like exactly when to start the next arrow and stuff.
Yeah, that was just really nice.
So I imagine this slow glide up to the island is pretty excruciating for you. One that we just skipped.
Yeah, it could definitely feel so. Going up to the island and then doing that little field before you get the cutscene over the cliff can feel like, I just need to go faster.
I'm interested to see what you do here.
Yeah, I'm interested to see your reaction.
I'm scared.
I really think this was how it was intended to play out. This went essentially perfectly. It was exactly what I wanted. I ducked into the shadows there, but avoided the stumble animation so that I could start walking sooner.
I don't know how you did that, but that's really cool.
If you stumble, it takes 4, times of hiding to get up there, and it's much closer.
Oh, look at that! You just that 1
just
second.
Barely missed the window.
That's awesome. He just didn't see you for that 1 second. That's all that mattered.
Because then we don't have to do the dive bomb animation, right?
Right. You skip that.
There is enough time to make him ignore you again there, but then you don't have enough time to make it to this one. So you have to do the dive bomb, to get yourself a little bit of extra time.
Managing it across all.
I still love that dive bomb moment. That's one of my favorite things in the game. Is that like the sound of it and the particle effects and stuff like that. It's just such a cool moment when it flies over you.
Wow, that was really cool. Nice.
This last
I was super hype about that.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Wow. Yeah, I don't think I've ever even done that portion without being hit at least once.
It's pretty tough.
Yeah, it's tuned so that the average player will get hit at least once.
We made the distance to the last safe zone there extra long. Wanted to punish
It feels like it.
Yeah.
This section is particularly hard for a speedrun because you have no visual
what's the
cues
strategy?
once you start facing into the cloud. So it's really just orient yourself based on the visual that you have when the text comes up, and then just really hope that you're walking in a straight line.
Yeah, you just have to kind of know the right angle.
Exactly. And I mean, the bird is always in the same place, but you can very easily get very far away very quickly.
Right.
It definitely happened a lot when
rest
testing.
is the final fight.
Like someone would say they couldn't find it, and it turned out that they accidentally walked the opposite direction for 3 minutes or something.
They have to walk all the way back. Oh my gosh. Oh, okay, yeah, I'm extra interested to see this final battle here.
There's really just a couple smaller optimizations. There's one opportunity where I can get multiple hits kind of all at once. I appreciate that you made it so that the arrows that miss his face as his face tilts back will come back around and hit him in the face.
Oh yeah, they arc back.
It's really nice.
Yeah, that was actually a complete accident that we left in because it looked so cool, where the arrows just fly around in huge loops.
Guy almost
It's definitely a very stressful fight. There's
Oh, yeah.
that second hit.
Nice.
But yeah, I mean, there's a lot to think about, right? You know, there's fireballs and shockwaves, and actually making sure that your shot is charged, that you're not just going to whiff right past his face.
Is there any techniques you can do to influence what attacks he does, or is it all random as far as you can tell?
I am not sure. I think that Azama has some theories about how to manipulate the RNG a little bit more in your favor in the first phase of the fight before he's become this giant creature. I'm not so sure about this phase, because every time that I do it, it feels roughly the same. It feels like now he's going to do a laser, you know.
Yeah, I think it is a sequence there.
I definitely like to pretend that I'm making a difference, but
I still can't believe we got this into the game.
It came in real hot.
But it made it.
Yeah, I'm so happy that that we got this giant ledge boss in.
It's awesome.
the arrow, like, arcing stuff is just fantastic. I love it.
It's so much fun, yeah.
Do you have a favorite boss?
Personally, I'm a fan. Well, I'm a fan of the boss fight of the first boss, but for anybody who knows my streams, I'm a big fan of lizards, and I have a lizard cam on my stream, so that kind of makes the second boss my overall favorite.
Very cool.
Mm-hmm.
I've messed around a bit with doing just a series of skill shots there, but it's, to me, not really worth it to most likely miss at least one and then have to do an additional shot
Right.
for the time that you save just doing skill shots.
Wow, that was a really fast run through that fight. For sure. That's awesome.
Yeah, like I mentioned at the start, when working on a boss like this, or testing it, or if you're testing something with the credits, then you end up playing through this like dozens of times, and even playing through it over and over again, I'm still impressed at just how much faster that was than the average one that I would play through.
And that part, you know, is at this point fairly consistent. I think we all feel pretty good about how, say we all, as in like me and Azama and Ben, you know, about how we do that fight. We feel pretty consistent about it. But I would be interested to see if Azama has figured out a way to make the Godslayer just, you know, charge you with a sword 3 times in a row, and then you're done. You're good to go.
What are some of the areas of the game that you're interested in optimizing further or figuring out new strategies for?
I think that there's, despite it being fairly early in the run, and so kind of more of a point of focus for routing, I think that the first area with Cernos could be done better. There's just some kind of odd cliffs that you really do just have to walk up, and that just feels weird in a speedrun, right? To just like actually use your feet and do it as intended.
Right.
So I feel like that could be done better.
Interesting.
Plus, you know, if we can figure out how to consistently skip that phase of the Hydra fight, that saves, you know, a minute or something.
That's cool. Well, what a fantastic a bunch of tricks there. Really, really cool to see. Absolutely.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun to watch. It was fun to get some insight as it was happening. So thank you.
Thanks so much for making the game. Obviously, this is a wonderful game.
Yeah, well, you know, it's all worth it to see people play it, and the speedrunner community is something that, you know, we particularly love because you just really dive into the game and appreciate it and understand it so deeply, and we really appreciate that dedication, and it's just really fun to see the game in a new way through that community. So
yeah, I feel like we spent the first like 2 weeks after launch just watching nothing but people running the game. It was great.
Yeah. So yeah, thanks so much for playing the Pathless and speedrunning it, and congratulations on the world record for this category. It's so cool.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hope you shave even more time off of that and manage to figure out how to break the Hydra in a good way.
Well, here's hoping this time next year we get sub 150 or something like that.
Very cool.
And with that, I think we'll wrap it up, I guess. Anything else you guys want to say?
Yeah, I think that's a wrap. Thanks so much, and it was really nice to talk to you, Sable.
Thanks for having me.